Kids. Welcome to JLJ After Dark. This week it's JLJ After Dark episodes, Monday through Thursday. Last week it was JLJ this evening. Next week we'll be back to JLJ this evening. So we're just kind of going back and forth, different conversations, different weeks, all kind of stuff. And this one is something that I feel strongly about because I have personally experienced it myself. I was watching there's this guy. We'll start with him first. I think it's Patrick McDonald. I don't know him. I follow him. We have some people in common, but I don't know him personally. I used to work in reality television as a producer, worked for Bravo, other places for years, and he has left and now he's doing adult porn. And he's saying how it's actually more transparent because you're adult porn than what he was doing at Bravo, basically. And he's doing different interviews. He's kind of making a circus, speaking out on the reality of reality TV. And he's getting a lot of mixed reaction, obviously, mostly hate, of course, but mixed reaction. And I know for me personally, I know I've worked in reality TV off and on. I know stuff. I mean, we've known for years how it's produced and not necessarily scripted, but like things for stuff are changed and outlined. But I kind of do that from behind the scenes. I always feel like everybody knows it now at this point, right? I don't know. But the one thing, but that's not even important. The whole how real reality TV is not even an important part of this conversation. The part of this conversation that I'm going to bring up is that whenever you speak out, how you're viewed. Isn't that funny? It's I know what it feels like. For years, here's the thing: I love the daytime community. I do. I wouldn't be in it if I didn't love it. I for years have loved it. I for years as I would call a civilian who was not in the business to someone who got in the business. Doesn't matter what direction. I've always loved. I love daytime television. I think it's the hardest people in the business. I have a lot of friends in it and stuff. But I decided one of the things that I'm going to do is, especially when I went on my own, is JLJ Media, and I left AfterBuzz TV. That wasn't beholden to anything through them. I'm going to speak out. Even before that, I looked out for the underdog, certain guests that weren't being asked to be on shows. I brought on my shows. I always champion Black folks and my other minorities. I was folks that gave them a platform because a lot of times they weren't being asked to be on shows and things. And so I was like, yeah. But then when I left AfterBuzz and had my own company, JLJ Media, I made a point to actually speak out and to shed a light on the industry, period. Just like, here's some real deal about the industry. And then at one point we had the pandemic that exposed some things. And then we had the strikes that exposed a lot. And one of the things that exposed, now was not from us, we're in business, it's from the civilians, was outside of business. I have people in my life, a few, and they're not by themselves, who view what we do. And I know they love me and all that stuff, no matter. They view what we do as frivolous and you're not changing anything. You're entertainment, you're dumb, your mouth shut, don't say nothing, everybody's liberal, which is not true, and all that stuff. So to me, I mean, I used to get offended by stuff like that. And it's like, I personally offended. But that's not really looking at what that actually means. And there's actually some legitimate stuff in there. Not that one. Let me explain. The world is worlding. Life is lifing. Things are happening. They're out there. It's a doggy dog world out there, and I'm wearing milk bone underwear. Thank you, Rodney Dangerfield, for that. It's so, and because it's late night, it's after dark. It's shitty sometimes out there. It's totally shitty. The world, and you go to entertainment, whether it's a book or a music or a movie or a TV show or an after show, whatever, for escape. I don't want to think about my real life for an hour, 2 hours when I go somewhere else and just watch it. I'd be taken away from my life at the moment or with the life's going on outside. That's legitimate. That is legitimate. But also, what art can do is also affect change and speak out in ways where you can't in other ways. So there are many artists, not everybody, who feel the need to speak out on subjects or also decide to unearth certain things because they see injustices happening. That's where it gets tricky. So I'm seeing where it gets tricky for some people. Some folks love it. They're like, bring it on, bitches. We're ready. Let's do this. And others are like, I just want you to provide entertainment for me, and that's it. So I'm kind of like, I mean, so on some level, I understand that part. Like, I didn't come here to hear about free Palestine or come here to hear about the global markets or climate change. Like, you don't want to hear your person you go to for comedy every day or go to your soap opera every day to hear about that. Now, my immediate rebuttal always is, but they're human too. They live on this earth like we do. They live in, if it's an American issue, they live in America like we do. They were right for free speech and expression. Then comes into play, of course, um, is there cancel culture, consequence culture, all that stuff. Should be able to say whatever you want and still have your fan base. Well, that's a complicated question too, because it depends on what your fan base is. If you know your fan base is all Trump supporters and you're like, screw Trump, well, then clearly you don't know your fan base, and clearly you're taking a stand where you're going to lose all of them. If your fan base is mostly Latino, you're like, screw Latinos. Clearly, they're going to stop watching you and purchasing your product because that's completely. So, first of all, know your audience. That's number one. And I think most people, they know their audience or who their people are. But I also feel like if you are going to take a stand on something and you're going to express it to the world, then you stand by it. Stand by what you're saying and take whatever hits you get. Because we all know everything's cyclical. Folks who are kind of getting attacked in like certain areas are now back in the business again. I mean, it's on all sides. So it's just kind of like maybe you have to ride it out for a while. Come back in, you're fine. Tides change all the time, right? So the thing that really always the part that really gets, because I've said that folks it's your choice where you spend your dollars or your time. I agree with that. Here's the part that gets me: is the folks who will vilify you for speaking out, even if they don't understand what's going on or actually agree with you, but they're like, your job is to keep your mouth shut. It's just entertain me. That's I don't need to hear anything else. And it's funny, it's just like, or all actors are dumb. All writers they're not important. And that's what the whole strike was about, having it in writing, how important writers are compared to AI and other sources. Like, there's a lot in there. And it's like, well, there's dumb people in every profession. There's dumb folks everywhere, but there are actually a lot of smart folks in our profession. But I think it's more about the entertainment part. It's more like sports too, because sports is entertainment. I throw that in there too. They don't want it. They just want us to play, like I said, just shoot the hoops, just hit the ball, just go on stage, just act that job, just sing that song. It's like they look at it as we are just idiots. What are you doing? I have friends who really think that. So low thinking about that you're like, wow, it's one thing to disagree with the artist, that's one thing. But to think that, just shut up and sing, that's an interesting thing, right? So again, let's go back. I don't know if I'm doing devil's advocate, but my point is kind of just like that. It is complex. It's not just all entertainers are dumb and all people who watch entertainment are dumb. It's like there's not just that. There's several sides to this, and that I actually understand on some level. You're going to a show, and social media ruined everything. Of course, back in the day, we didn't know everything. We only knew what things were leaked out to us or whatever. But now that the stars are like accessible, a fan could not like you for any reason. You say something off, or something wrong, or you don't say this, or you don't say that, or your girlfriend's Brazilian. Who knows what it is? Folks can make a problem about it. So back to this Patrick guy who's speaking out. I know as a person myself who spoke out on race issues and soaps and color issues and the hierarchy and and stuff behind the scenes and who are mean, which PR people are not nice, and how tight they are. Like I always speak out on because people ask me personally, fans, why don't you have so and so on your show, or why isn't this happening, or why is that show do this? And they come to me for answers. People actually ask me quickly. They know I've been in business for a long time, and I'm like, I don't mind speaking out on it for me. And I've lost viewers, I've lost listeners, I've lost subscribers. I also gained them. There's a point I'd lost a bunch, and then it came back around. Because it's not the only thing I do, obviously. I do a lot of stuff. But if I have something I want to talk about like this, if I have something I want to say about something, I'm going to say it. And I just think that it's interesting. To me, the part that's interesting is just the backlash that you get from where you get it and who you get it from may surprise you. Obviously, if you're working in a reality TV field and you hear people talking crap about it, you don't want to hear it. But it's funny. Certain outlets, certain people, they start talking crap about you. You're like, oh, I didn't expect that. That's interesting. And then goes the question: should you ever speak out? That's always the eternal question. There's no answer. I have no answer for that. Some would say no, you shouldn't. Some will say unequivocally, don't. Keep it to yourself. Write a book one day. When you're done, that's it. But I feel like change doesn't happen if you don't at least be transparent and let it out there. So I'm very transparent when someone says, well, why aren't you at the Emmys this year? Well, here's the deal. I'll tell you the deal. There's no secret. I mean, like, they turned me down. I was this whole thing. I remember getting attacked. What got me the most was when I was going through the whole Emmy ordeal, Emmy red cover ordeal, I had a bunch of people on my side that I was like, some were regulars, like, yes, and folks I was very pleasantly surprised by, like, oh, wow, they're on my side. And they actually did stuff to try to ensure me to be there. The part that really surprised me was the attacks I got from certain people, and I didn't get that much attacks. I got a few, but the ones I got attacked by, what surprised me, because I remember I said before, 3 people who attacked me. I should say I feel who attacked me were 3 black men. So like, are we all in solidarity together? Apparently not. It just goes to show you can't rub us all the same cloth. You can't say we're all the same. We're not. These 3 black men had very different ideas about me and my work and why I was not at the Emmys. And decided to express it to me. And I think a couple of them thought they were doing tough love on me. And I'm like, that's what he said. I was like, that's not, what show are you seeing? I'm like, I don't do that. I don't know what you're talking about. I just didn't. And I've cut ties with those 3 men. So I thought you were my friend. I guess you're not. I didn't make big declarations. I just cut ties. I was like, I don't want anything to do with you. I don't need people who don't support me. So it just tells me, like, okay, this happened also a few years ago online. I was a Twitter hashtag once when it was Twitter, and some folks that I thought, well, these were peripheral friends, totally turned on me for hits and clicks. And I hadn't done anything really wrong. I was just trying. I just was trying to defend myself on something. And it was more about, well, I don't. They say we call each other mutuals. Well, we're just mutuals, and I don't know. I don't know what he was thinking of, and what he did was irredeemable. All this, I'm like, really? I didn't do anything wrong there either. It's just so weird. I was like, oh, by you joining in the conversation and saying something negative about me, that gets people to generate to go with you, and it continues conversation. You get more views. I get it. So then I took off Twitter for a while. I was like, I'm off. I'm not gonna. I didn't like seeing the fighting for me and against me. I didn't like either. I didn't like either of them because it wasn't anything big. But I saw that. People will jump in sometimes, and you realize, oh, they're not your friends, and that could be my fault. Maybe I was the naive one thinking, well, we're all getting along so far. Like there's nothing. Like, I don't think we're not doing anything to each other. Because there were a couple people I was following that I really liked their opinions, and they never followed me back, and end up talking shit about me later. And I'm like, what did I ever do to you? I don't do anything to anybody. I'm like, I don't do anything to anybody. I've never attacked any of these people personally. I don't attack their work. I don't know what that was about. And there was one press outlet, I won't say, that we had a 10-year relationship in the beginning, but became friends later. And we're fine. We actually had a particular Emmy carpet. experience together. We were all out there at the same time working it out. We were next to each other, and we got along. Now we get along great. Sometimes you just need that, so you need to meet people and see for yourself. So I was like, oh, we're fine now. I'm like, no, big deal. Also, rumors go around, people say things, you don't even know if it's true or not. But I just think it's interesting when people just go the route of you're dumb, you're this, you're bad, and you're like, but I'm just trying to bring equity to the conversation and to the business and let folks know that it's actually, while you're down to me for doing this, this is going on over here, and that's not good either for anybody. And again, I love the soap world, and the soap world. Well, like I said, what they pay behind the scenes is not the same anymore. Everything's different. You don't realize the soaps do not do the business they did before. I don't think they're going anywhere, but they don't. They're not doing the business they did before. It's a whole new ball game, and in some ways, we're all kind of equal between soap operas and audio dramas and web series. It's all kind of it's all based on fans. We will not be here if any of you guys, none of you guys watched or listened. That's just the truth. That's why I love my fans. I try to talk to the fans and make sure they're okay. But But I had one for really tell me, he goes, well, actually, you're dumb. The actors are just dummies. I'm like, oh my God, you really believe that? Because some of these actors don't agree with what you believe in, so you think they're just dummies. And they just keep their mouth shut. Or certain, I offer a lot of content on here. And so I try to make it so that that some content's a little heavier and some isn't. Some is just silly. And so you can pick and choose. And I always invite people, if you hit a show and it gets a little too serious for you, turn it off. I got other shows you can check out. I love comedies and being silly and all that stuff too. But there are times when I want a serious conversation. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. So that's all I want to say. Just kind of want to chew on that a little bit this week. I'm James Jr., of course. JLJ After Dark. Oh, somebody's texting me. Oh, funny. I see I'm late night reading text. Audio is also an audio version of this, or if you're listening to the audio, there's a video version of this at YouTube and JLJ Media. We'll talk to you tomorrow night. Bye.